Welcome back to the Advanced Selling Podcast, the 2021 edition. Welcome back after the holidays. Brian and I are back here in studio, and we're anxious to give you a piece of our mind. We've got a lot of stories, a lot of fun things going on this year. We are the number one sales training podcast in the world, I think. Are we still?
Longest listen. I mean, there's a big debate about that, but we're glad you're here. We're glad you found us.
Yeah.
We're asking you to tell all your friends in 2021 about the Advanced Selling Podcast. Sometimes I wonder, people like it's their little secret, like the little secret they keep in their back pocket. But this is a big community. We've got a community of 14,000. How many people in the LinkedIn group?
About 12,000, I think, on LinkedIn.
Like that.
We would have had 14 if we hadn't gotten thrown off there for a couple of months.
You can. We send out a weekly email too that everybody should subscribe to. So to get the weekly email, they send their email to ultimatepregame.com. Ultimatepregame.com. It's called that because you get a pregame. So if you're prepping for a sales call, you get this really nice little pregame format you can use that helps you get ready for a sales call. And then you can hear from us on a weekly basis where we are very pithy in our writings.
Pithy?
Pithy.
I wonder if our listeners would like to hear the stats too real quickly.
Sure.
Because when I listen to a podcast, I'm always interested, is this thing going to 150 people or 7 million? It looks like our monthly downloads are about 125 to 140,000 per month. That means that across the library of 600 and some episodes, 140,000 downloads a month come from that.
Yeah.
Our subscriber base, as near as we can tell, and Apple is not real good with specific numbers, it's about 15,000. So you are, if you're a regular listener to the podcast, you are one of 15,000 people who listen on a regular basis, weekly basis. So those are the two numbers that we kind of keep our eye on.
And we are lifelong downloads. We in the 12 million range, Travi. I think we're about the 12 million download range, which if you do podcast stuff, that's a pretty decent little podcast we got going here for the sales people from Indiana people. Anyway, that's good. And then, we have, what we said, 14,000 people in the LinkedIn group or something like 12,000 in the LinkedIn group.
Yeah. If you haven't joined, go to the LinkedIn group and join because it's fun.
Yes. So Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, too. Did you have a good holiday?
Great holiday. Great. Yeah, we shut the shop down, so we went 2 weeks away, and shut it down was really great, and got a little R&R. Long story, was going to Florida just for a minute. I don't know. Like, we don't have HIPAA laws here, right? I can say I had COVID. Yeah. I can say that out loud.
Yeah.
So had COVID, so now I'm clean, so I'm good. So you go to Florida, there's no COVID in Florida. I'll show you some videos of that. There's definitely no COVID in Florida. But we had to switch. We were going to go to Marco Island. Then I had to go work a game.
Oh, okay.
During the vacation, and the flights were bad, so we switched over to Miami. Not a huge Miami fan. It's just okay. Went to South Beach. It's just okay for me.
You didn't go there on New Year's Eve, did you?
No. Okay. We were there before that.
Okay.
No, we came home on New Year's Eve.
Just
okay
Miami
on South Beach.
Yeah.
Just okay.
There's some good little cigar shops along there, not on the main drag, but on the next street over, and the little, I don't know, what do they call them? Little outdoor cafe area. It's really kind of nice, but it's a lot of concrete to me.
Yeah, and it's a lot of cars, like a lot of like Lamborghinis and Ferraris, which is great if that's your deal.
Did you get your picture taken next to any of them? Did you say, "Hey, Stephanie, come over here"?
There's a great TikTok guy. What's that guy's name? Who's the TikTok guy that we'll put it up because we'll get some social media juice from this cat. He goes around and stops people in cars like that and asks them what they do for a living. That's all he does. He goes, "Hey, excuse me, you got a great car. Can I ask what you do for a living?" And that's it. And he goes to the next one, one. It's a TikTok account. It's really good, actually.
Are people pretty generally?
You think so? Mostly. They
of course, you don't know what he cuts out. But.
Yes, and now they know him. So they go, and then like, hey, and then it's everything you'd think. People like a lot of YouTubers.
I like that better than "Can I clean your windshield?" I mean, if you're going to come up to my car, I think I like that better. Because you get a little social media action there.
Ritwill's got it here.
It's Daniel Mack, and he just goes around.
It's Daniel Mack.
Daniel Mack.
How many followers does he have on TikTok there?
He has 4 million.
He has 4 million followers.
Awesome.
Daniel Mack. So we're going to mention him. We'll put a mention out. This is the first sales coaching podcast Daniel Mack's ever been a part of. Mm-hmm. That should elevate that to about 5 million on TikTok.
Daniel,
after this one.
Come to 54th Street in Indianapolis. A couple of nice cars.
D-Mac to the studio. Yeah.
I don't think my car would.
No, mine
meet
no.
his expectations.
No.
All right.
So topic.
Our topic today. You go ahead.
This is for the sales leader, sales manager. So we thought New Year's topic, what's going on there? I was inspired by a LinkedIn post that I saw from our man Keenan, who's Jim Keenan, but he goes by Keenan, talking about his frustration in someone recruiting and asking for only salespeople to apply that have SaaS sales experience. SaaS sales experience only. So it got us thinking, which I think is a great, like, what does that mean? And he was saying in his post, like,
for us old men, could you tell me what SaaS
I'm sorry,
is?
yeah. Software as a service.
Oh, it's SaaS.
SaaS. It is two A's.
SaaS.
SaaS. Okay. Software as a service. His point was salespeople are salespeople at their core, especially the good ones. And it doesn't matter if they're selling bubblegum or lawnmowers or SaaS, they're good, and the experience is only limited. So got us thinking here for this episode, for the sales leaders who are in the recruiting mode, what are some flaws in logic or myths or fallacies that we've seen sales leaders engage in when it comes to recruiting, when it comes to defining who they're looking for, how they recruit, that sort of thing? What are some mistakes they make? And for you who are salespeople, we're not going to leave you out. How should you navigate through this if you're trying to find your next sales role, sales gig, that sort of thing? So
you want to just go back and forth?
Yeah, I
like
think we're riff-
because I didn't take any time to write these out, so they're going to be appearing as we go.
Oh, I love that. I love when that happens.
Yeah. Here, I'll do one just so I can get it out and get the other one locked and loaded in the chamber, as we say.
You're not on TikTok, are you? I spent way too much time on TikTok in the break. But there's a trend on TikTok. That's what they call them. It's,
all right.
Really just, bitch, I'm a ghost.
Yeah, the first thing I think is that leaders tend to over-index or overemphasize experience.
Yes.
They say, well, he's had 20 years of experience with Adidas or Adidas, as what I say. Or, she's been with Oracle for 10 years. I think we overemphasize that. And especially if it's more than 15 to 20 years, it starts to get into your 42 to 45 years old. If you're hiring those types of people, and some of you are, I would be very careful about using experience as the number one filter. Because a lot of times what happens is they have experience selling bubblegum in your example, but they don't have experience creating content that makes the frickin' phone ring.
Right.
So the question is as Wayne Gretzky was alleged to have said, it was his dad that said, don't skate to where the puck is, skate to where the puck is going to be.
Yes.
Which apparently it's controversial as to whether he ever actually said that.
I'm sure
but it's used in a lot of corporate training. But the point is that, are you hiring somebody who has the skills of the future, or are you hiring somebody that has the skills of the past? And if you've got somebody who's 20 years with Oracle or a large company, and they've not really been entrepreneurial at all, and you're going to be asking them to be an entrepreneurial territory manager or builder, they're used to having leads set in front of them. How effective are they going to be? Probably not very. So my request for sales leaders would be, think about the skills of the future. Who do you want your people to become in the next year or two with all the stuff that's happened over the past year? There's a future salesperson that you need to define and then hire that person who can grow into that rather than somebody who has 20 years of cold calling.
That's great. That's great. That's such a, and I'm going to go the other direction on that too.
Okay.
This is good because I've got a friend right now who's 50, going on 51, who's looking actually for some sort of sales or sales leadership gig and is afraid that he's in that kind of no woman's land.
He probably
where
is.
he's too far along. And I think the other thing to be careful of is don't discount people who've got too much experience not being able to keep up with some of the things we're talking about with social media and that sort of thing. Because you and me, and you're better than I am, I think, and you look at this podcast, neither of us are in the millennial range at all.
No.
And this is a very, younger thing to do, to have a podcast and that sort of stuff. So some people,
Did you know the statistics have come back? Every millennial now has a podcast. Did you know that? Every millennial has except for Will.
Will's Gen Z.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's out. No, he's got his own stuff
my
going.
case.
Gen Z.
I rest my case.
So I guess what I'm
you're
saying
right.
there's, on both ends, don't make these judgments about, they're a little too seasoned for us.
No, and I thought where you were going with that is your 50-year-old friend needs to get his in gear and go learn this stuff.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
it's one thing to say, well, I'm 50. I mean, I can't learn podcasting. You know what? It's 3 chords and a microphone, and you can podcast it. And I know we're not using
a microphone.
We're not
Sounds
using
like a Beck
It's like
song.
two men in a truck.
Beck song. 2 turntables and a microphone. Bill's rewriting Beck lyrics. I love this.
Is it Beck?
Beck, yes.
So where was I before you took me down that?
You said that the person who's on the back side, the back nine,
yeah,
they need to get their butt
back
here.
nine. Yeah, and you can't keep saying I don't know how to do that, because if you have 1 year left, if you're 64 and you're getting ready to retire, you're probably not even listening to a podcast because you don't really care. Forget about it. Don't learn anything, because just go cash your coupons and just.
Yeah, it's silly.
But if you've got 10, 15 years left, what's stopping you? I mean, Google is a good place to start. How do I podcast? How do I create a video series? How do I shoot video in my home, in my studio? Come on, guys. Come on. You have to learn this stuff. You don't have to be obsessed with it, but you got to learn it.
Did you hear what Elon Musk said about college? Which was so true to me.
No, but
the only thing you need college for is to have fun and to learn to do your chores on your own. Everything else you can learn on the internet. Everything else you can learn on the internet. It's true.
You're starting to hear Elon Musk, Gary Vee, Seth Godin, all these guys, Joe Rogan, all these guys that have millions of followers start to diss college.
Absolutely.
And you start to get 50 million, 100 million people listening to those folks. It's going to have an impact, because people at some point are going to say, yeah, Elon Musk is giving me, he's worth $150 billion or whatever.
Yes.
Okay, so your turn.
Here's something else that I think people make a big mistake about when they're hiring, is they think that I'm going to go more specific, not just experience, but specific industry experience. And even more so, people think that if they've got a book of business, they're going to bring it with them. That never, ever works. It never works. So if you sell dental equipment and you're going to switch teams and go from one dental equipment to another, the sales manager thinks you're going to bring this big drove of customers over with you, and it never, ever pans out that way. Salespeople, this is hard to hear. I know you think all of your customers will leave the company you're with. If you leave, they will not. None of us are that good. They will stick with the company almost always before they'll follow a salesperson to the next gig. I'm telling you, it just happens over and over and over.
Yeah, it happens in the financial planning world a lot, where a guy goes from the book of business.
Yep.
And then they pay the person coming in based on that book.
Absolutely.
Like, we'll give you $1 million bonus to bring your $100 million, and they end up with $10 million over, and then there's that.
Yeah, the shifting, the movement. Yeah, it happens.
So is that because the brand of the company is so strong versus the brand of the individual? So I feel connected to Raymond James versus feeling connected to the broker.
Yeah, I think it's different for consumers and businesses. So when we go business to business selling, so if I use Gong as a software or Salesforce.com as a CRM, and I really like my account executive, and they switch and go and start selling sugar, I'm not going to go with them.
No,
you know what I mean? No. Financial advising, maybe. Accounting, maybe. Just depends, I think. I think it's a slightly different way to look at that.
But I think you're right. I think the pitch then for why you should move, if you're a customer and you've been dealing with me and I've been with a big firm and now I'm going to a small firm, that's really important, how you lay it out, how you proclaim it, your story, why you changed, versus just the expectation of, they're going to switch because I play golf with him.
It's me, exactly.
And it's like, wait a minute, the cost of switching is too high today.
That's what it is.
Just to be switching here and there based on
And cost doesn't mean monetary in that sense. It's just a pain in the butt.
Right.
It's like switching banks.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it. It's a pain. Yeah. You got another one?
Yeah, my other one probably has to do with when you are interviewing this person as a candidate. Mm-hmm. Are you asking them to give you an example of their work and of their thinking? So I just had a lady who was in one of my small group coaching programs, and she quit a job, and then 3 months later she was asked to join another company, and one of the things I told her to ask them, they should have been asking her, but they didn't. I said, you should ask the candidate or the company, let's say that we do this and I come to work with you. Let's just say January 1st, 2021.
Yeah.
What do the first 90 days look like?
Yeah.
What exactly do you expect of me? What can I expect of you? Let's talk about what the 90-day, what the ramp-up time is, the orientation time. And she said they had no answer.
Yeah.
Until she asked, and then they got back with her and said, you've prompted us to think through this a little bit more. And they hire salespeople all the time. I can't imagine why they wouldn't have that. But now she is very clear about what it's going to take to be successful.
Yes.
Really you as a sales leader can be asking your candidates the same thing is, let's say you get this job. What do your first 90 days look like?
Yes. That is so good. You know what else? So we talked about on what we're preparing for this, for the 45 seconds that we prepared for it. How do we, including the sales team, the salespeople, same deal. Salespeople, what Bill just said, you need to do all the time. You need to be prepared. And even if they don't ask, you can tell them, let me show you what I would do here the first 90 days when I got here, based on the research that I've done.
Don't even wait
for them to ask, and then just say that, or just lead with it. You got to be prepared to do that. The other thing I see, so now I'm giving my advice to the salespeople. So many salespeople, and I think this is generational. I do. I think it's a millennial thing. Travis, you're the resident millennial here. Tell me if I'm wrong. I don't know if they're rule followers by nature or they don't like conflict by nature. I think that's kind of a stereotypical. But if it says, 5 to 7 years SaaS sales experience, they won't apply. I'm like, why wouldn't you apply for that job? It says, well, it says 5 to 7 years SaaS experience. Here's a Gen Xer answer. I'm like, I don't care. I never looked at the thing. It says MBA required or preferred.
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't care. I'm good at what I do.
Solicitors, not
exactly.
Yeah.
And so roll through that stop sign is what I'm telling you here on the advice piece. Just because it says it doesn't mean anything. If you're good, we say this like in football refereeing, like when people are trying to move up. The phrase is, if you're good, they'll find you. If you're good, they'll find you. Same with like recruiting athletes and stuff. You don't have to worry about getting seen, all this stuff. If you're good enough, you'll be found almost always.
Yeah.
So plow through the stop sign. If you're nervous, well, it says, I've only got 2 years and it says 4. Who cares? Go make your case.
And leaders, even though I know that HR sometimes forces leaders to put that into the description of requirements, don't ignore somebody who has 2.5 years or 4 years if they're an all-star soccer player and they're amazing, because you're going to miss people that way.
Yes.
I never have liked this, like the 5 to 7 or 3 to 5 or whatever. I know what that is. That's just a filter.
Right, but what is it? Why do you exactly? So, okay, we like someone with 5 to 7 years of experience.
If you've got 8.
Eight's a little too much. No, 5 years, 4.2 years is a little light on us. If you go 7 more months, we'd probably look at you. But no, it's the dumbest thing ever, and it's random. Ask any HR person, how did you pick 5 to 10 in this ad? They don't want. None of them will have an answer.
Science.
Yeah, let me show me the science. Yeah. Baloney.
Here's one last thing I would recommend, and then we'll. As I heard a podcast guest or host the other day said, we'll land the plane. And he said it like 5 times. Well, let's land this plane. Okay, 1 time's enough. How digitally minded are your candidates? Are they in this century or are they in the last century? And this goes also for 25-year-old, millennial, 30-year-old. I'm not just talking about older people. The point is that when you communicate with them, do you get the sense that they've really embraced technology, or do you get the sense that they're on Facebook, but that's the only technology they've embraced is from a social media consumption standpoint?
Yeah.
Do they send you a video after the fact? I think I've told you a story about how my daughter got one of her jobs. She interviewed with 4 people, and she created a video out on our patio afterwards, and she sent it to the people. It was one video for all 4. I appreciate your time today. I hope this works out. If not, it's been great. And she got the job like within 3 days. And the lady said, we sent this to the CEO, and the CEO said, hire her.
Fantastic. Just fantastic.
So that's an example. And that was several years ago, but that's an example of just, do you embrace technology?
That's great.
And if you don't, as we said earlier, you'd better start.
Do. That was fun. First one back in the saddle. So by all means, go to ultimatepregame.com. Put your email address in there. We'll give you this ultimate pregame thing. More importantly, you're going to hear from me and Bill every Tuesday in a little pithy email newsletter. We'd love to have you join us there. And then tell all your friends about the Advanced Selling Podcast. We're really trying to grow our listenership this year. No better place to start than our loyal listeners. We're very, very thankful for all of you. So that's it. We'll see you next time.
See ya. Bye.